Welcome to A Kind and Gentle Word. I'm Jordan, and this is so not the plan for right now. I am supposed to be editing a completely different video, completely different episode for tomorrow's podcast. But we're not doing that right now, because as I was about to get ready for bed, I felt compelled to share this. I am barely even ready to tell this story because in my mind, it's not finished. But you know what? God was like, it is though. It is. August 25th, I decided to start an Etsy shop. One of the many side hustles that I have tried and failed miserably. Well, the Etsy shop is miserable, so I'm going to give it that. September 3rd, I get suspended from Etsy. I don't know why, but I'm permanently banned. Now, you can do something called an appeal, where you can basically fill out a form and try to explain why you're not bad and how you're going to do better. And please let me sell on Etsy. Yeah, it's a thing. Apparently, it happens to tons of people. And what I didn't realize is that it happens to most, like 99% of new shops, because they're trying to make sure that you're not a scammer, that you're not a bot. And apparently I uploaded way too many things, way too many days in a row because I have zero chill, okay? We all know this, all right? So within 12 hours, my appeal gets rejected. I'm permanently banned from Etsy. But the email says that I can respond to it if I have further questions and if I think this has been made in error. And I'm like, yes, please. I do think this was made in error. I've removed anything that could possibly be considered copyright infringement. I had something that had Cub Scout in the title. So I was like, okay, that's apparently trademarked under the Boy Scouts of America. That's leaving. I already deleted everything. Like, what can I do? Silence. 2 days later, my red banner of permanent ban turns into blue that my appeal is under review. There is hope. Okay. And I'm just searching like a crazy person for when will this end? When will I get back on Etsy? Because all the women on YouTube are talking about how Q4 is upon us and you're going to make 6 figures in Q4, which is the end of the year. Speak for like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. That's when most people on Etsy make their big bucks. And I'm like, yes, we have to do this, which is why I put so many products all at the same time in the first place. And then something weird happens. My blue banner goes back to red. We're suspended again for apparently a whole new reason. So I make another appeal. 12 hours later, I'm rejected again, but my banner is still blue. This same day was this past Monday, and I had a horrible migraine. That happens to me a lot when the weather changes and the barometric pressure changes in the air, and it basically feels like my skull is trying to crush my brain. It was a really hard day. I'm not going to lie to you. My personal pain scale, I say that because as an autistic person, my sensory processing is very different from other people. And so there are times when I can push things down and not realize that I'm ignoring them, or kind of forcing myself to ignore them, or I cannot ignore them and everything is very insistent right now. That's really hard to explain. Yeah, the best way I can describe it is when you feel like you have to go to the bathroom and then suddenly you forget that you have to go, and then you're like, oh, didn't I have to? Well, I guess I didn't have to go that bad. I say that might just also be an autistic thing and not a normal person thing. So never mind, we're gonna keep moving on. So while I'm in the middle of this migraine, I'm emailing back and forth with supposedly a human on Etsy support. There's no support on Etsy. It's atrocious. Everybody talks about it. And I just collapse onto my kitchen floor in pain and in agony that my head hurts so much that I can barely open my eyes. And all I can think is, Lord, I have tried so hard. I work so hard, and I'm just not making ends meet. And as a good friend of mine used to say, she's in heaven now, but she used to say, somebody's got to pay for this party. Well, I'm not even trying to have a party. I'm just trying to have life. And it's rough. It's rough out here. And we all get that. And I was like, I'm at my end. This is where the sidewalk ends. I've got nothing else. I have nothing left. Please, please let the blue banner disappear so I can make some money on Etsy. Well, fast forward to this morning, I wake up with a renewed peace about the situation. Nothing has changed. The blue banner still says my appeal is under review. I still don't really think that it's ever going to go away, or it could go away and I'll just not be able to sign into Etsy anymore. At this point, I can no longer sell or even buy anything on Etsy. It's very weird. And then I went to a Bible study group tonight for the first time. And so I'm meeting all these new people, and the way they do things is really cool because they take a passage of scripture and they have two different people read it aloud, and then you can read it to yourself for a few minutes, and then we just discuss it. So we dived into Luke 5, verses 1 through 11, and it's just this really amazing little piece of the story of the disciples, the first disciples that Jesus chose. And if you grew up in church, or you know that they were fishers first, fishermen, that there's a story right here where they've been fishing all night long, and Jesus comes up to them and he's like, we'll just throw the nets on the other side. Why would that make a difference? And Peter is like, bro, I am exhausted, but because you ask me, I will do it, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful moment of obedience. And so Peter tosses his net, and there are so many fish that the boats are sinking. They're literally sinking. And so they bring everything back in, and Peter falls on his face on the ground, and he's like, Lord, I am a sinful man. And Jesus says, don't be afraid, get up. We will now fish for men. So I actually volunteered to read the passage out loud after someone else did. And even as I was reading it, I was having so many emotions because they did the same thing that they were already doing. But instead of working from their own strength by themselves to fish without help, they were now allowing God to take control of the situation. They handed over everything, metaphorically and physically. They obeyed God in their task, and God blessed it. Because apart from him, we can do nothing. It's John 15:5, just a little tiny snippet of that scripture. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him will bear much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. It's one of my dad's favorite scriptures. I memorized it a long time ago. And it really it drove home really deeply tonight, because I realized that because I realized that it has nothing to do with Etsy or making money or what the task is. If God is not a part of it, it's worthless. Every part of your life without God in it is worthless. It means nothing, because apart from him, we can do nothing. And I realized that that is not a popular thing to say or feel, believe, and it's even harder to do. So I'm going to keep moving forward in obedience to him. And so I do feel like at this moment, God is shutting that door. So my hope is that he shows me the path. Is it a door? Is it a not well-traveled path through the forest where I can't see anything and I have to just basically reach out my hand and allow him to lead me? I don't know. But what I do know is that I've been called to do this right here. And I am very, very embarrassed and ashamed that because I was doing all the Etsy stuff, I was not doing this. I was not making episodes. I was not posting videos. And I was like, well, I'm going to get back to it as soon as I can get this ball rolling. Well, despite my shocking, I know, basketball years in younger life, ball is not life. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. That's it. There's nothing else. So as I say at the end of every episode, I really want you to hear these words. Be kind to others and gentle with yourself. For we are all a work in progress. Truly. And I'll see you tomorrow. Because this is what we're called to do. Right here. This is the call. This is the call. Pick up the phone. Love you. Bye.